We build an 8-team parlay with every NFL division winner and tell you how you could win $1,000 in just 10 minutes. And it all starts right now. What's going on, everyone? It's Matt from Grandstand Bettors, and it's part 3 of our 8-part series where we build a parlay with all of our NFL division winners here in the 2022-23 season. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video because we're going to tell you how you could take home $1,000 this NFL season. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos and smash that like button because we are about to dive in to the AFC South. And in last place in the AFC South, we are going to take the Houston Texans. They had their second straight season with only 4 wins last year, and the only reason they weren't last in the division last year was because the Jags were that much worse. Now, the Texans, they have not been last place in the division since 2017. They did win the division in 2019, and the Texans have completely tanked since then. They lost guys J.J. Watt in free agency in 2020, and now they've traded away Watson to the Browns here in the offseason. Now, their offense is going to be led by David Mills this season, and with the exception of Brandon Cooks at wide receiver, they're really lacking some playmakers, which is a big reason why they ranked 28th in passing and last in rushing last season. Defensively, things not that much better. Like their offense, they ranked in the bottom of the league in almost every category and gave up the 6th most points per game in 2021. Now, they used a lot of draft picks on their defense this year, and hey, that could pan out here later down the line, but this defense is very young this season. The biggest issues are their defensive line and run defense, which gave up 142 yards on the ground last season. Playing guys like Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and Travis Etienne are not going to help that situation, and the Texans will be lucky to maybe even win just 1 game against the Jags this season. When you go 1-5 in a division, it's not hard seeing that this team is going to come in last place in the AFC South. Now, in 3rd place, we are, and some of you might be surprised, maybe not, we are going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars at a very disappointing last season, or after a very disappointing last season in his rookie year. Trevor Lawerence and the Jags had another 1st overall pick in the draft, and they used that on defensive edge rusher Travon Walker out of Georgia. On offense, they brought in Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and Zay Jones in free agency, and they're going to be getting back that running back we just mentioned, Travis Etienne, who missed his rookie season last year with injury. Along with James Robinson, another talented running back, and some other talented players that they have on offense and defense, this offense and defense looks much better than what the Texans have, thus why we put them here in 3rd place. Now, I want to touch on their defense just a little bit more here. Their secondary is and was a bright spot for them last year. It did rank 17th in the league, but much better than others. However, this unit only did force 9 turnovers all season, and they gave up 26 points per game. They also lost both of their leading tacklers from last season, Miles Jack, who went to the Steelers, and Damian Wilson, who went to the Panthers, and that put a massive hole right in the middle. Along with their 1st overall pick, they did draft linebacker Devin Floyd out of Utah in the 1st round, and they're hoping he's going to take over and be part of that defense in a big way. At the end of the day, though, they still have a long way to go, and getting this defense ready to compete on a higher level might be too much to ask for them this season. Now, the Jags, they're definitely taking steps forward, but only enough to get them out of the cellar in the AFC South. Now, this brings us to the runner-up in the AFC South. We think it's going to be very close in this one. It's between the Titans and the Colts, and we are going to put the Tennessee Titans in 2nd place here. They have won this division the last 2 seasons, but when you look at what the Titans gained and lost between last season and this year, it puts them in our minds behind the Colts. They lost both A.J. Brown and Julio Jones in free agency, and the only guy they were able to bring in was Robert Woods from the Rams, and if you remember, he is coming off that ACL injury from last season. Tannehill also didn't have the best season last year. It's only fitting that their season ended in the playoffs. by an interception that he threw. Definitely looks like he is in the later half of his career. So now more than ever, I think this offense is going to have to lean on their running back, Derrick Henry. And this guy is an absolute beast. He's put up crazy numbers in the short time he's been in the league. And the Titans got a glimpse of what will happen to him if they don't do a better job, though, managing his carries throughout the season. He had his first major injury in the NFL last year and ended up missing more than half the season because of it. It's tough to see the Titans putting more emphasis on the passing game this season with how things are stacking up. So we would watch and see what happens to Henry this season if he does continue to carry that ball 300 plus times. On the other side of the ball, defensively, the Titans have built a very solid unit over the past few years that has contributed a lot to their recent success. The only problem we actually see with that unit is their secondary. They ranked 25th in the league last season and made relatively no big moves or found other new starters in the offseason to help them. Yes, they have a very good defense still, which is going to keep them in games, but if they're winning or if they're tied late in games and they're trying to stop somebody from moving down the field on them, the secondary for the Titans could be their Achilles heel, and that's why we have them in third place in the AFC South. And that brings us, though, to our 2022 AFC South divisional winner, which is, of course, the only team left, the Indianapolis Colts. And after trying out Carsen Wentz last season and missing the playoffs, the Colts quickly moved on from him, ended up signing Matt Ryan from the Falcons. This is a great move in our opinion and is the reason why we think the Colts have what it takes to win this division against the Titans and outbeat them this year. Now, at quarterback, Matt Ryan has the edge over Tannehill in our opinion. The running back core with Jonathan Taylor coming off a huge breakout season is pretty comparable to the Titans, and their offensive line and wide receivers have an edge over the Titans as well on this Colts team. Defensively, the Colts fell back a little bit last year, but hey, they're still ranked pretty similar to those Titans in almost every category. So there is a lot of similarities between the two. We just think the Colts really have a little bit of edge in a lot of those areas. The difference is, maybe in our opinion, they brought in Steven Gilmore in free agency to boost that defensive back side. The couple of defensive safeties and edge rushers as well helps them with depth. And let's remember, it's Shaquille now. Shaquille Leonard has been leading this defense the past few seasons, and with him back fully healthy this year, it's only going to boost their defensive play. The Colts also have a slightly easier schedule this season, and if you remember, the Titans have a bye week in week number 6, which is super early. That is a crazy long second half of the season, which we think is going to play a big part in the Colts winning the division as well. So, with the third leg of our parlay, we are going to take the Indianapolis Colts to win the AFC South at minus 125. Now, if you're playing at home, that brings our parlay to 3 legs so far, which is the Bills, Ravens, and Colts. And if you just took those 3, you would get them at plus 532 in a 3-team parlay. Now, part 4 will be coming out here in just a couple days. Make sure, again, you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our massive parlay, which is going to end up being over 250 to 1 odds. Before we sign off, though, we promised you how to win $1,000 in 10 minutes, and the answer is easy. Head on over to grandstandbettors.com. Sign up for that NFL betting contest. All you have to do is take 30 seconds each week, pick 5 games against the spread, and if you're on top of the leaderboard after week 18, guess what? We're going to send you $1,000. It's as simple as that. The link is in the description. Go do that right now because all registrations close at 1 p.m. on September 11th. As always, though, sit back, relax, enjoy more preseason games because we are only 21 days away from the start of the NFL season.